Okay, we're recording. So, hey everybody, welcome to the Zoom. If you are brand new, like you're not with Prove It, you're just on here because you're you're interested in hearing a little bit more about what keto can do for you in the gym specifically, for your muscle preservation and all that good stuff. If you can just type in the chat like, hey, or I'm new or whatever, just so we'll know kind of who we're talking to. I know we have tons of promoters on here, so super excited that you guys are all on. If you did invite someone, maybe just shoot them a quick reminder. Hopefully they missed out on all that good stuff that happened in the beginning of the Zoom that wasn't recorded, but we have a couple guests here who are absolutely amazing. So I don't know how many times that I've personally been asked, what can this do for me? I'm already in shape. I don't have any weight to lose. I work out all the time. I really don't think I need keto. And I'm always like, yes, you do. It's amazing. But I never have the right words to say just because I'm just not super educated in that area. So we have asked a couple guys who are super smart, super knowledgeable. These guys know what's up. So I didn't ask who was going to go first, so I'm just going to introduce them both. But we've got Jay. If you can see Jay, there's Jay. He's waving. Okay, he is a professional athlete, bodybuilder, trainer. I should have gotten all his stats before the Zoom so I could introduce him properly, but he can tell you guys a little bit more about himself. And then we've also got Jake on here. Jake, wave for everybody. Jake is amazing. He is the keto nurse. He is freaking fired up about everything and knows all the things. So super excited for these two guys. I'm going to zip it because I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to let them take over. So if y'all want to unmute, and I'm going to mute myself, and then we will recap in the end.
Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Not a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm Jay Wesson. I've been with Prove It since the beginning of April. Like Jess said, I am a bodybuilder, a competitive bodybuilder. I've been doing that for the last 4 years. I also have a nutrition certification, so I have a lot of clients that obviously their goal is fat loss, muscle preservation, things that we're going to talk about tonight. So this is my passion. If you guys have seen me talk on any of my lives or anything like that, Jake can attest to this and everyone else. My passion is to help people. That's why I'm here. So to help you guys answer any questions, we'll talk about training and how Max particular that I use and how we use it improves our physique and our training. So that's kind of my little 30-second spill. So Jake, what's up, buddy?
All right, what's going on, guys? Jake Cofield here. I'm sure some of y'all take my videos and see how much of a big baby I am when it comes to talking about keto, and I cry all the freaking time, but whatever. But I started my keto journey back in April. And then I was introduced to Prove It on July the 15th. So actually I'm coming up on my 6-month anniversary. And it's really cool because I went back and found those very first videos that I posted that probably none of y'all have even seen. And I'm going to repost those. And it was like the first day that I said that I was going to try Prove It, the first product that I tried. And then the time when I was like, sign me up. I'm a promoter now. So it's pretty awesome to go back and watch those. But so I've been a cardiac cath lab nurse for almost 9 years now, specializing in cardiac. I've been into nutrition and health since I was 13 years old. So I got a lot of knowledge of that. I'm like Jay, man, I'm just passionate about helping people because, as many of y'all can see, this country is sicker than it's ever been, and something needs to be done about it. And I'm telling you right now that keto is the answer. Whether it be the diet or the supplement, you can imagine how much fun I get made of at work with a group of cardiologists, and here I am eating beef and bacon all day long, talking about exogenous ketones. So you can imagine the ridicule that I get, but you know what I do? I put a smile on my face and I come back home and I make videos because y'all are my support group. But anyway, so that's my little spiel on how I got into keto. And so we're going to talk about tonight about muscle preservation, building muscle while losing fat. Some studies behind that, some research behind that. Jay and I both do keto completely different. So that is going to be a plus for anyone on here because you may relate to me or you may relate to him. So we're excited to talk to y'all about that, man. I can't wait. So, Jay, how you want to start, brother?
So, you brought it up. Since we appropriate the ketogenic diet differently. I think we should probably explain how we do that differently. So I did a live earlier this week to explain how I do it. I use a targeted ketogenic diet. So mine is closer to just a low carb diet than anything else. The best way to explain it is if you look, I personally have 5 to 6 meals a day. Most of those look like your normal ketogenic meal. It's high in fat, moderate protein, and very low carb. My exception is my pre-training meal. The meal that I eat about an hour, hour and a half before I hit the gym. It has 2 cups of jasmine rice in it. So I'm getting in around 80 grams of carbs just from that. So, and most of the time, if you guys heard tons and tons of people talk about, you have to have 20 or less carbs in a day. So that's not necessarily applies to everyone. Don't be stuck on chasing numbers or this, that, or the other. All we're about here is being healthier in results. So for me, I can do that in what we'll talk about, muscle preservation and gaining muscle. For my off season, I am slowly gaining weight and putting on lean muscle as I go with this diet. So I drink exogenous ketones every day. I use Keto Max every day. So I drink mine personally with my pre-workout meal. So I drink mine around 4:30 every day. Then I go to the gym an hour and a half later. So that's how I use it. I got some great advice from Dr. Wilson while he was out in Vegas about why to take my max with my carbs and how it will help me better utilize those when I train. So that's the slight change I made. I used to take it in the morning, first thing, get up in the morning, slam it down, start my day. So because of his advice, while he was out at KK and More, I've slightly changed it. And I think it's helped. I mean, I have some pictures that there's a 3-day difference. Jake's seen them. I showed him the other day. Like, it's stupid. I gained 3 pounds in about a week and became leaner while eating more food. So it's definitely possible to put on muscle. It's definitely possible to preserve muscle and improve your performance while using a ketogenic diet. So that's how I do it. It's worked great for me. So I'm a huge fan and a great proponent of it.
Okay. So basically what he said, I'm the complete opposite. I eat maybe 1 to maybe 2 meals a day. I do intermittent fasting in the morning. If I'm hungry in the morning, I do eat. I go by how I feel. I don't chase numbers. But if I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm not, I don't eat. I've been playing around with the keto cream here recently. I'm doing another study on myself, incorporating this keto cream for the DNA repair. I'm going to try to use it for some muscle repair. So as a post-workout, I'm going to start incorporating the keto cream. And I'll kind of, fill y'all in and let y'all know how that's going to go and whatever. But I'm a morning person. My ketones in the morning are skyrocketing. Me and Jay snap each other every morning. We're both in the gym in the morning. If y'all follow me on Snapchat, I'm all over the place in the morning. I'm a morning person. So I don't drink my exogenous ketones in the morning. I drink mine exactly like him, about an hour and a half before my workout. And then we can get into the science of how later, but I literally have to make myself leave the gym because I'll go into it later. We'll touch on it of how you can just continue to go and go and go. He eats carbs. I eat as little amount of carbs as I can possibly take in. And that's just from a lot of broccoli. I may eat 15 grams of total carbs per day. My diet is high in fat and it's moderate in protein. I guarantee you some women on this Zoom right now eat more protein than I do. My body type is easy for me to put on muscle, but it's hard for me to lose fat. So I have to adjust myself for that. The inflammation that comes along with carbs, I don't even want to deal with it because that was one of the reasons I got so big to begin with. So I stay away from the carb stuff, not even going to fool with it. Don't have any plans on doing it. So I'm going to let this guy take over the carb situation and let him experiment with that. I'm going to stay away from it. But so Jay, let's get into how exogenous ketones help us at the gym, brother. So I'll go ahead and let you take it away. Go ahead and start it out.
So, if you've seen anything that Privet's put out or anything that we've talked about, we all understand that ketones themselves are a substrate of fuel. It's just fuel for your body. So the science side behind that is like, hey, I can put in a shaker, I can shake this up, I can drink it, and it's producing, I'm just ingesting pure energy. That's what I'm doing. So also, I use the caffeinated as well. I'm not a big caffeine junkie. I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning and that's it. The rest of the time I'm drinking, I'm putting down 2 gallons of water a day. So for this, the way I do it is because of that, I use those carbs. I'm trying to use both fuel sources within a time frame of my training. So I generally only train for about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. sometimes a little longer, but not much. So what it allows me to do is I'm using both fuel sources. So I'm burning through all of that glucose from the glycogen through my body, and then what I have from the rice that I eat, and I'm using the ketones. So the ketones for me, like I said earlier, they help shuttle that glucose into my muscles to be used as fuel while I train. So for me, it allows me to train heavier and with more intensity without all of the fatigue, the inflammation. So it's let me stretch, the intensity of my training longer without and help with the recovery. So the recovery side, for anybody who spends a lot of time in the gym or is just starting, we all know that, especially that first time we train legs or arms or whatever we do, and the next day we can't move. So we're that sore. That soreness, for me, has been alleviated by using ketones. So one of it improves oxygen flow, improves blood flow. So it's helping me recover and preserve my muscle, and it's letting me train harder. Right now, I train twice a day. I get up, like Jake says, we snap each other in the morning. Right now, this entire month, I get up every morning at 5. I'm at the gym, 5:30, 6 o'clock. I have a leg session where I squat. I do my cardio. Then I come home. Then I start my day. And then I'm back again at 5:30, 6 at night and training again. This is allowing me to recover and have the energy through the day to accomplish those things without dragging through the day, with being able to mentally stay alert, and then, just do my normal job, my Prove It job, my clients, and everything else that I have to do in a day, and not just be absolutely a zombie. So that's how it's helping me. And like I say, this is the best choice I've made yet. In 10 years of training and doing nutrition stuff and trying to work out and be a competitive bodybuilder, this is the best supplement that I've added to my regime to get the best results that I've ever found. Simple as that.
It's crazy because, it's like you can go in the gym and you can absolutely kill it, and you want to be sore because that means you did something. And then when you're not sore, you're like, well, what the heck's going on here? I'm not sore. But it's because those ketones increase, actually it decreases oxidative stress in our body. The oxidative stress is what produces all these other inflammatory responses and stuff. So basically, you're doing more with less when you have exogenous ketones in your body. And it's like he said, it increases the oxygen uptake into your muscle. So you're just fueling that thing with oxygen and blood, which is the whole proponent of muscle growth. Now, to touch on how ketones promote muscle growth as far as amino acids go, so there's a lot of studies done out there with amino acids, and there's a lot of gluconeogenic amino acids, meaning that a lot of these amino acids will actually turn on your blood sugar and your glucose response and spike your insulin. The main amino acids that you need to build muscle are leucine, isoleucine. There have been studies shown that when you take ketones and have ketones present, it actually increases the uptake of that leucine while downregulating the expression of those gluconeogenic amino acids. Therefore, you're just pounding in the muscle amino acids that you need. Other ones are working to refill your glycogen stores to give you more energy for the next day. Let's see, I finally wrote down some notes here so I wouldn't rant like I usually do. Can you believe that? I actually took notes here. So let's see. So the leucine, yeah. So the leucine, there's a whole reason why a lot of bodybuilders and stuff do the post-workout carb load with a lot of protein. It's for that insulin response. Because insulin not only is a fat storage hormone, it's also a very anabolic hormone. So if you eat a lot of carbohydrates to spike that insulin, you open up that cell. Well, then you eat a lot of protein with it, and you shove a bunch of amino acids into your muscle, which is that's where you get muscle growth from. Well, studies have shown that when you have exogenous ketones, it upregulates that leucine. That leucine is doing exactly what the insulin response is supposed to do. So therefore, you're not having to replenish your carbohydrates. You're having exogenous ketones with just that leucine spiking through the roof. So it's like muscle growth times 10 in a natural way without all the inflammation that comes along with it in the glucose response and the insulin response and all that other stuff. And they also show that with exogenous ketones, when they increase that leucine, it also cuts on another hormone called mTOR. There's tons of studies. GNC used to have a product called Anator that was specifically designed to go to this mTOR cell and increase this mTOR cell, because that's like, God's gift to muscle growth is mTOR and IGF-1, which is insulin-like growth factor. But anyway, so it turns on the process of that mTOR cell, which encourages muscle growth as well. Let's see what else. Look here. Somebody just bought some keto while I'm talking to y'all. Good luck. So let's see here. So the ketones increase our insulin sensitivity, meaning that the more carbs that we do take, like Jay, he eats those carbs, like he just said, he uses his ketones with his carbs for that insulin sensitivity. His insulin isn't having to go up as much, and he's getting to use those carbs along with his ketones. So that's why he can go heavier. He can go longer. Now, he also, me and him talked the other day, he does not like to do fasted workouts. I absolutely love them. I feel better first thing in the morning on an empty stomach working out because my ketones are higher. So I'm able to go and freaking go because it increases that oxygen uptake. And one of the main things that ketones was Jeff Volek, who is actually one of our Prove It doctors. Brian Underwood was at Ohio State with Volek not too long ago. There was a video about it. So if anybody on here is a future promoter or something, whatever, that's one thing you can go ahead and take away from this is our product is backed by research, by real scientists, by real doctors. All these other videos that I make of all these other keto products that I bought that don't work, where are their doctors at? You know what I mean? Like, where is their lab at, for one? Because I can't find the one that's in Atlanta, and I've been looking for it. So anyway, so when we work out, we increase the CO2 in our body because we're breathing more, right? We're doing a lot of this other stuff. So the carbon dioxide in our body increases, which then it decreases our pH level, which causes acidity. Well, then lactate, which is a component of when we work out, that lactic acid builds up, and that's where the burning and stuff comes from. Lactate builds up, which causes oxidative stress, which causes breakdown to our body. Well, when you burn ketones, it decreases the CO2 production, which increases your respiratory drive, basically meaning it makes it easier to breathe, simply put. And it decreases that muscle fatigue like Jay was talking about, and you can go for hours without getting tired. That's why now long-distance runners have swapped over from the carb load and just gone ketogenic because you can go and go and go and never hit that wall because these ketones not only are fueling your body with energy, but it's stopping you from hitting that bonk wall because ketones will run you on freaking diesel until you can't run no more, which is not going to happen because you're running on ketones. But anyway, what you got, Jay?
So to tag on to what Jake was talking about earlier is about the insulin response. That's something for me personally which affects me as I am always generally hypoglycemic. So when I wake up in the morning, my blood glucose level is generally right around 70 or very close to that. For me, that's why I don't like training fasted because it crushes my glucose level, which if anybody knows anything about that, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. So I'll start pouring sweat, get lightheaded, get crazy, stuff like that. So that's why I don't train in the morning very often. I'm doing some different stuff now, but like I said, I am training once in the morning and doing cardio. But with that, first thing I do in the morning is take ketones. So I take my max in the morning and then I'll go train. So one of the things about that is it does help with the insulin response. So because of that, I used to have like what we call carb load, which is a fast digesting carb while I train, and it would make me go crazy. Like my blood sugar crash, it was horrible. Like there's plenty of people that ever seen me train. Afterwards, if I don't go eat within like 20 minutes, I get real hangry and I get real bad, and it's nasty. So since I've started using ketones, because my blood glucose level is steady throughout the day, it's allowed me to still do that without having this negative response. So there was a question earlier about why I use rice. It doesn't have to be rice. Who asked that? Ashley Brandon. It doesn't have to be rice. Rice is easy to digest. That's why I use it. So it digests pretty fast. So I don't like having something just feel heavy on my stomach when I go to train. It can be anything. It theoretically could be oats. It could be sweet potatoes. It could be different types of rice. I use something that's a little faster digesting because I want to immediately turn around and use those carbs and that glucose when I train. That's why I use rice. The amount is depending on, how much you can burn in that time. So me and my coach, we're actually working on that. I hooked up with Jake. We're going to get a Keto Mojo meter coming into me. So we're going to actually see how many carbs I can eat in that meal and stay in ketogenesis and obviously keep me in ketosis. So that's something that how insulin has affected me personally and why I changed the way I train. There was another question I thought in there.
One thing, Jay, about him using that rice like that is rice is full of nothing but fiber. So when you eat fibrous foods, as opposed to like some people count carbs and net carbs, so you got to figure out what net carbs you're talking about. We're talking about sugar, alcohols, which you can count as a net carb, or you're talking about fiber. So the difference between those is the fiber that he's eating will make it all the way to the large intestine, to the bottom of the gut, where it'll go into fermentation. Well, when we ferment these fibers, it creates butyrate. What is the product? What is in our product? Beta hydroxybutyrate. So you're producing these short chain fatty acids, which just will give you even more ketones. So he's doing everything perfect for him for sure.
So Sheena had a question in there too about, if someone, a promoter or a potential customer says, well, I don't have a weight loss issue. I don't either. Obviously, like I said, I'm a competitive bodybuilder. So what I tell people, generally, if they're in that point where they're like, hey, I don't need to lose weight, I'm like, well, you don't need to lose muscle either. That's where I talk about muscle preservation. If you go to any nursing home, generally what you'll find, those people are in a nursing home because they physically don't have the strength to go through day-to-day activities. They can't pick up things. They can't set things up. They can't get out of their chair. That's the reason they're there. That's a lack of muscle strength. So if you can preserve muscle throughout your lifespan, you can put that off further and further and further because you're preserving muscle, and it's going to keep having muscle is going to keep you stronger. So that's a quick answer for that one. So Lisa Scott asks, do you have to use a keto diet to get results from drinking Keto S? No. I mean, it's simple as that. If your goal is fat loss, you need to be Rob DeBoer does a great job of this, of explaining this to everybody, is you need to be in a caloric deficit and sustain it for time. This is not an overnight success thing. This is to get this, you have to continually do this for a long amount of time. So be in a negative, caloric deficit, which however you want to stylize that diet, like Jake and I talked about, he has no carbs. I have all the carbs. They both work. So being in ketosis, that condition is what's giving us all these other health benefits. So your diet, as long as it's a healthy, I'm always tell you, have a healthy diet, have a caloric deficit, and you will lose body fat as long as you're consistent with that over time.
To tag on to what he just said, as far as just drinking the exogenous keto product, the Keto Max, Keto OS, the reason why people are losing weight without really having to change much or exercise is for about 3 reasons. For one, it increases a thermogenic fat in our body, which is brown fat. It's a good fat. It produces more body heat in our body, which in turn, you burn more calories. Okay. Number 2 is it really suppresses our appetite. A lot of people see that I'm not as hungry when I drink my keto because it works on our leptin and ghrelin and adiponectin and cholecystokinin and all that other stuff, all those other hormones in our brain, so you don't eat as much. So therefore, you're already burning more calories and eating less just by drinking exogenous ketones. And then number 3, it gives you tons of energy to want to move. So therefore, you're adding to your energy out. And then number 4 is what we're talking about. It spares muscle. It actually increases more muscle. So therefore, what does more muscle do? This guy's calling me right now. So what does having more muscle do? It burns more calories. It burns more fat. Having more muscle does that. So there's 4 reasons why just drinking exogenous ketones will already put you ahead of the game.
Hey, to answer Ronnie's question about the rice again, he is asking what kind of rice. I use jasmine rice. All rice has some amount of fiber. So if you start looking at it, like brown rice has more fiber. So it's going to slow digestion. So for me, honestly, I have most of my athletes that I work with, I have them on jasmine or basmati rice. Generally, people like the taste of it better. It digests quicker. But it just kind of depends on how you want to go about it, what works best for you, what you like. If the diet's not sustainable, if you can't stay on it, you're going to crash out of it and then you're going to binge eat and you're going to do all these things that put you right back to where you were or a worse place. So find something that works for you. And that's what I always recommend, whether that's, sweet potatoes or rice or something, a good clean carb, and you'll be in a good spot. So
I think Lisa says, but we're working out like crazy and she can't exercise due to a heart condition. I didn't see that question before. I just gave that 4-answer spiel, so I hope maybe that did answer your question. If it didn't, let me know. And if you want to personally message me, or if you don't mind everybody seeing your heart condition, that's what I've been specializing in for 9 years. I can probably, assist you in that or something, or, I'm not giving medical advice or anything, but, you don't have to go to the gym to work out. You can just park a couple spaces away from the door, do some arm curls on the couch, do anything, just don't sit still. And that will put you in an energy deficit right there. And like I said, those 4 reasons that I just gave you for just drinking the drink puts you at an advantage right there. So that hopefully that helped you, darling.
Yeah, that's a conversation. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Mom said something.
Mom's here.
No. I have a question. So
Uh-oh.
you guys may have different opinions on this, so I'm interested to see what you think. But what do we talk about when we have someone who does not need to lose any fat and they're only interested in building muscle? Do you recommend drinking keto and incorporating a ketogenic diet, or a different kind of diet? What do y'all think?
So this is right in my wheelhouse, because this is exactly what my goal is. So my goal for this year is to put on 10 more pounds of what I call stage weight, or muscle at my best conditioning. So it's the same thing I did last year. So what I've been able to do now is, gaining muscle is very difficult. Anybody that wants to tell, like, especially women, they're like, oh, I don't want to look manly. I have been doing this for a decade. It is really hard to put on muscle, I promise. So to do that, you have to eat in a caloric surplus. Just like we talked about losing weight, you have to eat in a deficit to put on muscle. You have to eat in a surplus. Now, it goes back to that diet style, whatever works for you. So Jake can put on muscle without having any carbs. That works great for him. I use a little bit of carbs. It is working great for me. So it's not so much about the ketogenic diet as far as building muscle. That's about having the right amount of protein and a caloric surplus. Now, obviously, I'm a huge proponent of the ketogenic diet because it comes with all these other health benefits. To answer one of the questions too, it is anti-catabolic, which means that's what we're talking about when we're saying it's muscle sparing. It's keeping me from losing that muscle mass when I do go into a caloric deficit. So the diet style is what works for you and what's sustainable. I prefer a ketogenic diet because it has all these other health benefits that we write on every box. Every box of Max tells all this whole list of stuff. The diet does that too. It's just a lot more difficult. So I pair the targeted ketogenic diet with my Max, and I'm putting on muscle. Like I said, I've gained 3 pounds in this past week, and the side-by-side pictures are stupid to see that you can physically tell within a week that I am bigger and leaner all at the same time. So it is definitely possible to put on lean muscle in a ketogenic diet.
Cassie, what do you say to all the skeptics? My brother owns a CrossFit and thinks I'm insane. Most CrossFitters do think us ketonians are insane. And I'm going to get every last one of them. You bet your dollar. Because the research that goes behind this helping with CrossFit is unfreaking real. It's like Jay said, you can run off 2 fuel sources. So if you're a CrossFitter, for one, Dr. Jacob Wilson even did a study specifically for CrossFitters. He did 15 on carb diets and 15 on keto diets. And the only difference that happened was the ketogenic diet people taking exogenous ketones had the exact same muscle mass that the other people did, but they decreased their body fat and they was able to go longer. So that's the whole purpose of CrossFit is endurance, right? So why would you not want to take something that's going to give you more endurance? I mean, that's the whole purpose of CrossFit. So, I mean, there was one guy, somebody sent me a picture of, he's like this, 2015, like fittest man in Kansas or something. The guy's improving. I mean, he promotes keto. So it's just, there's a whole bias of the CrossFit versus keto world. And I'm going to break through it because there's no reason for it to even be there. The purpose of all this is to be fit. It doesn't matter if you eat nuts on paleo, if you eat carbs like Jay, or if you stay away from all of it like me. Where'd everybody's face go here? Anyway, so to answer her question, keto will absolutely help in CrossFit. But one of the reasons is why that's where I go to get my bod pod done. A bod pod is basically puts you in a negative pressure chamber. And it tells you your exact body weight, tells you your exact body fat, tells you exactly how much lean muscle mass you have and how much fat mass you have. I do this at a CrossFit gym for a reason. Because every last one of these people, when I go every month and they see how much muscle I put on and how much fat I've lost, and then they ask me how much carbs I'm eating, how much protein I'm eating, and I tell them, and they look at me and their jaws hit the floor. And then I get to go into explanations of why this does this and why this does that. And they're just like, okay, let me go jump on another box and swing from a rope. They don't get it. But I mean, that's why I'm trying to get through to people. And, so this is a study that I've been doing on myself, and here are my bod pod results. And I will tell you, this is how muscle sparing and how muscle producing ketones are. They're talking about being in a caloric surplus. I'm not at a caloric surplus because from these assessments, from the amount that I work out and the amount of muscle that I have creating that, that fat burning anyways, I would burn 3,727 calories a day if I laid on the couch. No, I'm sorry. That's if I worked out 5 days a week at a moderate pace. I don't work out moderately. I kill it every day. But technically, I would burn almost 4,500 calories a day. Do you know how many calories I was eating for the past 2 months to put on 6 pounds of lean muscle mass? I was eating about 1,900 calories and taking exogenous ketones. So that's why the lady was like, how did you only eat that much and gain this much muscle and lose this much fat? And my caloric expenditure, my resting metabolic rate went up by 166 calories. So you would think that I'm starving, but clearly I'm not because the body is burning more energy. If I was starving, my body would shut down, which is why a lot of people stall on keto is because they're not eating enough. I'm eating enough for my body. The ketones are what producing this muscle for me because I'm not eating carbs. I'm just taking exogenous ketones and creatine. I take creatine post-workout. That's it. So for anybody who thinks you can't build muscle on keto, there's an explanation right there. I was at a 2,000 calorie deficit and put on 6 pounds of mass from ketones. I mean, that's the proof is in the proof of pudding right there, folks. I don't know what else I got to tell you. So y'all get me fired up now. Over here, my face is getting the color of my shirt.
So Jake's right. So I the competitive side. So when I have these conversations with CrossFit people, I actually had one. So I just moved out to Bluffton, South Carolina, out by Hilton Head. And I had a conversation with a guy Saturday. It kept the conversation going on Sunday. So for me, the way I'm going to prove it is I am super competitive. I'm a really crap loser. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm horrible at it. So the bodybuilder is going to go to a CrossFit next week and whoop his ass and then go, I win. And then hand him some more OS and some max because I've already given him some. And then I'm just going to go about my day because I understand that it's going to give me more energy. And I noticed that my fitness level is better than it's ever been. So it's like anything else. I'm just going to go, kind of be the guy part of me just says I'm not going to lose and I'm going to go do better than him. So there's tons of ways to attach it. You may not try my way. It's a little egotistical, but it's what I'm going to do because I like the guy. He's a good dude. So.
I agree with you because they're coming to those people will come at you and say you're dumb for doing this. Like there's so many of my friends who are back home who are in CrossFit and reach out to me. And then I tell them what to do, and they're like, well, I can't tell this guy, like the owner of the gym, because he's so anti-this. I'm like, you're paying to work out there. Who cares what you do? Like, you reached out to me for a reason. Like, are you not going to believe me, or are you going to, agree with the guy who sits in the office all day and just got his name on the building? That was like he said, he's going to challenge that guy. That is the whole reason I ran the Georgia race, fasted, only taking exogenous ketones, and I finished 200 out of 3,300 people in my first race ever and finished I finished like 45 minutes before all the CrossFitter people did back home because they hit the wall halfway through. And then 4 of them directly after that messaged me and said, hey, can I get some samples? Can I get some samples? I'm like, absolutely, you can get some samples. I tried to tell you beforehand, but you just wanted to do it your way. So, I mean, prove it. It's called prove it for a reason. So.
Amen. Amen. Kaylin had a question. From the time I wake up till the time I work out, it's about 2 hours. I drink cream on an empty stomach, then keto. No food prior to workout. Is this good, or am I losing energy? For me personally, I want to lose fat, also tone. Just sitting the first thing in the morning until lunch is fasting and festering. I mean, Kaylin, that's what Jake does. I mean, he's not eating. What time is your first meal? Like 10 o'clock or something like that?
11, 12.
Yeah, and that you've already trained. I mean, you're up at 5. I see you every morning. So, yeah, I mean, Kaylin, if that works for you, kill it. I mean, keep doing it. Like, if you're getting the results, then that's all that matters at the end of the day. So there's real no wrong way. As long as you're getting the right amount of calories for your goal, the rest of it is what fits your lifestyle. You don't have to eat 6 times a day. You don't have to eat 2 times a day. You have to get the right amount of calories, the right amount of macronutrients to stay healthy and for your body to operate properly, and then just put in the work. So keep doing it.
Kaylin, to kind of you kind of answered your own question, because you said, I wake up on an empty stomach, I do this and I do that. Am I losing energy? The fact that you have to ask me, are you losing energy, means you're probably not, because if you were, you'd be like, oh my God, I feel like crap. I don't have any energy. Should I be doing this? But you didn't say that. So therefore, what you're doing seems to be working. That's exactly what I do. I don't eat until about 11 or 12 o'clock. And for one, I like doing that because I'm not hungry in the mornings. And when you wake up fasted, and I know ladies are going to get scared when I say testosterone, but believe it or not, you need testosterone too. Your testosterone levels are higher in the morning. Your human growth hormone levels are higher in the morning. If you want to lose fat and tone up, testosterone and human growth hormone is the way to go. So therefore, do your fasted workouts. That's if it is working and you feel good, absolutely do it. Plus, guess what? You get to eat bigger meals at lunch and dinner. I love it. I get a big old 3-pound salad and stuff my face till I want to fly back on the couch. You get to eat more then, and you feel fuller, and you feel like you've actually had a real meal, as opposed to not everybody can be lucky like Jay and eat 20 times a day and be shredded with veins in his butt. Not everybody can do that.
We're not going to talk about my glutes right now.
Yeah.
But, hey, to answer Morgan's question, Morgan, you've already said that you've got great results. That's what I go with. I'm the same way. So I talked, obviously, in the bodybuilding world, this is still very weird to people. They're like, what are you talking about? You don't eat a whole lot of protein. The amount of protein, like most of you guys are probably going to eat more protein than I do. People freak out. They're like, that's all you eat? I'm like, yeah. I still eat a low amount of total calories, but I'm gaining muscle. So what I do with everyone is I just show them the results. Like, this is where I started. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. The results speak for themselves. No one will be able to argue with just pure results. It is working for you. So I would start there. I have one of my promoters right now. One of the lead trainers at a gym came to me personally and is like, hey, what about this? I was like, this is why it works. This is it. I showed him all of Rob's stuff. I talked about some other people, and I gave him, and at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to send you a 5-day. I sent it to him. I gave it to one of my promoters. Go give this to him. Hand it to him. Put it in his hand. Tell him to drink it. And then follow up with him every day. I don't sell the product. I'll give it to people. They'll try it, and then they're done. Like, they understand. They see the way they feel. They see the results, and then they're hooked. So I would just approach that person or that coach with results. This is a results-based industry, especially when it comes to fitness. We want to look better. We want to be stronger. We want to run faster. We want to do all these things. It's all result-based. So just show them the results, and then I would go from there. But if you have questions or they have questions, reach out to Jake or myself. Obviously, we talk about third-party validation all the time. It's not every day that you have a nurse or a national level bodybuilder that can go, yeah, we can talk about this. We can do this every day. So, reach out to us. We're glad to help. That's, like I said, that's what we do. That's what we're here for. So we're more than helpful. And hopefully that kind of answers your question, gives you at least a direction to go in.
He was talking about protein and everything. I weigh at this point, I weigh 215 pounds, and I eat about 120 grams of protein a day. If you told that to any normal person from a gym, they would say that there's first of all, if they just had the picture in their head, they would think that I'm just this big overweight guy. There's no way this guy has muscle by only eating that amount of protein. That goes again to, like I said, the ketones, how they promote the protein synthesis, how they spare the muscle. And also, this is a little analogy that I've been doing here lately, and I'll say it for whoever hasn't heard it yet, is everybody on this Zoom right now has body fat. Everybody has body fat. So why am I going to lose protein? Why am I going to lose muscle on keto? Because this is the analogy that I give. Say that my house is my body, right? We want to go have a bonfire outside. I got a whole pile of firewood laying right there by the fire pit that would burn like the dickens. And yet I'm going to go inside my house and take my furniture and throw it on the bonfire to start that fire. It makes no scientific sense why I would take the inner structure that is my being to burn first when I have all this firewood sitting over here that would just burn for days. So when people say you're going to lose muscle on keto, show them Jay's picture or show them my picture and say, no, I'm not. Thanks for your time. Say goodbye. You know, because like he said, you can't argue with results. They can tell you that there's no way you've done that and just hold it up. And they're going to be like, well, there's still no way you did that. Well, okay, yeah, there is because I'm right here. You know, holler at me. I can prove you wrong. And most of the time they don't want to accept it anyway. You know, they're asked, what are you doing? And you tell them, and they're like, I don't want to hear that, you know, but that's fine because they'll always come back around because this is science. Science works 100% of the time, every time. It's scientifically proven to work. So when what they're doing doesn't work anymore and they're getting frustrated with it, guess who they're going to come to? You know, baby. They're going to come to us because we got the goods, folks. This stuff works, man. That's all you got to do is drink it and it works. So, yeah.
What other questions you guys have? Anything? Ashley, you already got your picture. How did Dickens burn?
Hey,
Jake,
I got a question.
You're going to have to explain how Dickens burns because
Who's got a question?
I'm a city boy. I can't help you there.
I got a question.
All right.
All right, this is Sean. Can you kind of explain the fat whoosh a little bit? Because a lot of people, like, when they start taking the keto OS, like I've had a few people gain weight, and then my promoter, Molly, sent me the little deal, the fat whoosh, about how, like, I kind of, you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, you're asking about the water whoosh effect, right?
Yes, there you go, yes.
Yeah. All right. So what that is basically when you start to lose body fat, there's a lot of water inside those fat cells. So when you start, that water is going to shift first, and then you're going to deplete that fat cell, but that fat cell wants to hold its structure. So then it's going to shoot water back into that fat cell to hold its place, thinking that you're going to replenish it with more fat. Well, once your body decides, hey, you know, I'm not getting any more fat here. It's okay to let this go. I don't need this structure anymore. I don't need it. That's where the water whoosh comes in. It's usually around day to 15 to day 20 or so. Is people will be like, I'm actually gaining weight. That's because they're adding more water to where that fat came, or I'm not losing inches. But how do you feel? I feel great. I just haven't lost anything. Then stay the course because it's coming. You know, day 15 to 20, you might wake up and you're like, holy moly donut shop, I'm down 7 pounds. There's that water whoosh. So if they feel great, they're on the right track. So don't, you know, I deal with that. I'm sure everybody on here deals with that on a daily basis. This ain't working. I'm gaining weight. This ain't working. Well, how do you feel? I feel great, but I ain't lost no weight. Give it time. You got to get adapted. It's coming, folks. It's coming. So hopefully that answers your question. If Jay's got something to throw in there, he can.
Well, no, it's really just to tag on to what, if you guys saw Jake's live last night, one of the things that we talk about a lot too is, you know, we hear all these stories about, oh, well, I lost 10 pounds in 15 days. That's not everyone's story. So quit chasing numbers. Your story is going to be different than someone else's. So the water whoosh and the fat swoosh, like, yeah, some people can come in and they can drop a lot of water weight quickly. But what you don't know is what was their backstory. How were they eating before? How much water were they getting in? There's a lot of stuff, you know, you talk about, you know, especially if you're using like the orange where it has the MCT oil in it, that does a lot of things to people's bowels that they can lose a lot of weight real fast that they forgot that they had because it was just impacted into their intestines. So everyone has a different story. So one of the biggest things is this is not a short-term, quick fix thing. This is a lifestyle. You have to work to be healthier for the long term. You know, we're not trying to talk about, I just want to be healthy for a month and then go about my day. You know, I'm trying to outlive everybody. You know, I want to be 80 years old and run around like my grandfather was. I mean, he took a walk every day at 82. I mean, he didn't retire. He retired 3 times from 3 different jobs because he took care of himself. I mean, I'd love to be that lucky. We'll see how that works out, but just be patient with it. That's the biggest thing. And don't get caught up chasing numbers, chasing the scale or anything like that. It's how you look and how you feel. If you feel great and you feel better than you ever have, keep doing what you're doing and the rest of the results will come. You just got to give it time and be patient with it.
Like he said about the orange and the MCTs and stuff, just to touch on that and just get a little dirty here for a second. You know, people will come at you and say, I can't take this. It gave my stomach. I went to the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? It's probably a good thing. Because for one, people are so dehydrated that you are impacted and just don't know it yet. And gut health is the underlying cause of literally about 99% of diseases. Our immune system lies within our gut. So if your gut is unhealthy, your adrenal glands are going to be unhealthy. Your thyroid is going to be unhealthy. Your hormones are going to be out of whack. Your immune system is going to be shut down. So keto, by causing that, and MCTs are great, is a great antiviral as well. It's actually aiding in ridding some of the toxins from your body. So I don't look at it as a bad thing. I take advantage of it. Now, I don't do it all the time because, you know, nobody wants to. But if it does happen, look at that as a good thing, as a kickstart to, man, okay, cool. You know, let's get the ball rolling here. I'm cleaned out. You know, let's do the thing. So, but I do suggest if you do take the orange, drink it a little bit slower. Maybe eat like a boiled egg or some nuts because the MCT will shoot through the portal vein of the liver and go straight in. It doesn't have to be digested. It can cause some GI upset. So just to slow it down a little bit, I suggest pecans. I got pecans on hand at all times. Good fiber. They're half the price of macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts are amazing, but pecans are like the little lost brother. They're perfect. They're right behind macadamia nuts, and they're actually less carbs and more fiber than macadamia nuts are. So there's my tip on the MCTs with the orange and stuff, which I'm drinking right now.
And to tag on what Jake said about the MCT oil in your thing. So I'm a huge nerd for those that don't know. I listen to podcasts incessantly. So I was actually listening to one that Dr. Dom D'Agostino was on. Actually, again, I'm listening for like the 3rd time now today. And one of the things he actually talks about it is the Keto OS, specifically the orange drink. He's like, one of the things he found was if you would take a 12-ounce glass of just water, drink that, and then mix up the Keto OS just like it says on the package, and then drink it, he found that helped any gastrointestinal issues better than a lot of things. So that's a quick tip, or like what Jake said, eat a boiled egg, eat some walnuts, some things like that. So those are some little tips that we've gathered through all the research and the nerdum that I do. So to answer Chrissy's question, the gastric sleeve surgery, I have a client that I have 2 clients now actually that have had the gastric sleeve put in. For calorie-wise, I calculate their calories the same way because calories are just based on their activity level, where they're at physically as it is right now. The only thing that I have to change differently for them is they're restricted in the size of meals they can eat. So because that, and some of the, you know, the ketogenic diet works great for them because a lot of them still can't have a lot of carbs. They can't have rice. They can't have oatmeal. They can't have those things, but they do well with the fat. So those are some things that I added. So those clients of mine, they tend to get more meals so they can still hit their number of calories required through their day and still not have any of the issues of the bloating or putting too much down in one sitting. So that's really the only difference. Calories are calculated the same. It's the meal timing and the number of meals that I have changed for those guys. So hopefully that answers your question there. So.
Okay, guys, we are running out of time. So really quick, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this part up. You guys have been absolutely amazing. I know that there's probably going to still be some questions, so maybe we can do another Zoom like this, but we appreciate y'all sharing your knowledge with all of us so very much because obviously this is something that Ashley, myself, and Sierra could not be able to give to you guys. So thank y'all for doing that. Maybe Ashley could. She looks pretty offended that I said that. Ashley, if you have 911.
I only heard you do this a couple times whenever I was gone.
Hang on, 911. Let me
Is
figure
it
out.
me?
Hang on, I'm gonna mute everybody. Okay, that was funny. Stephen, if you can come in here. We are actually, y'all stay on this Zoom. I'm going to end the recording. Let me do that really quick.